So this was a trouble spot I had for years due to deer coming in. As you can see, it's mostly hostas, and I've had some problems with chipmunks in here too. That's another issue, but I really wanted to keep this as hostas. It's my side yard, and it's kind of in the shade. You can see where the shade is right now, and that's kind of what its life is like against that wall there. Over here it gets a little sun, but it gets a lot of shade as well. So I thought, well, gosh, that would be kind of nice to get hostas over here. So I started doing that. It was a real mess for a while, and so I finally got this cleaned up and put these hostas in. But just as they started getting going, I'd get deer through here, and they just level this hosta down. I'd catch them on a security camera, and they just look like cows grazing through the meadow, feeding on my hostas. So I thought, well, if I want hostas, I got to do something different back here. So what I did was, I've got a deer fence I put up, and I left a pass for my neighbors to get through if they need to, and myself, in case someone gets a ball lost over here or something. But basically, it's kind of hard to see the netting itself, but it's actually sagging down pretty much right now. But if I move it around, you can probably see it. But there it is. You can see the top of it. But this has worked out really well in this short little stretch here. The deer would just come up, even though they've got a big dog next door, and I've got a dog. They'd come up at night when the dogs weren't out, or in early morning. They'd also eat these burning bushes here. So these are probably about 4 or 5 years old, and they just would get eaten down every year. And for point of reference, here's some more burning bushes back here. And they pretty much got that big in about 3 years. So, and I've been obviously fighting to keep them under control for year after year. So the deer really did a lot of damage back here. I love the deer, but gosh, they just really go through your garden areas. Same thing over here. They'd come up against the house and clear all this out. I'm in the process of kind of redoing some of these beds, and so I don't know if you can see, something's been digging in here as well. Right in here. So I don't know if that's a chipmunk or what it is, but something you'll walk along and see that at night, or see that as you walk along here sometimes. And I put another short piece of deer fence here, just to keep them from jumping over that fence. And this fence is not very tall for them at all. So the only place I didn't put the deer fence was on this section here, but I've got some lilacs on the other side. And I did put this partial fence just to kind of make things look a little awkward if they tried to jump in, that they'd consider maybe not wanting to get into that. So it seems to work so far this year. I think I had some rabbit damage before, and I put down some animal repellent and sprayed some of that stuff. It's just like egg yolks or something and kind of stinky, but that seems to work pretty good. So I've had good luck with that. So if you've got problems with deer, at least we have a lot of deer in our area, and I think a lot of people probably do nowadays in suburbs, but the deer fence does work, and it's not too obtrusive. I was a little worried at first when I put up last year. I used like tomato stake things, and they were kind of obvious, but I think going with this 2 big 8-foot, what they call them, T-posts, I guess, and then putting the fence there, I think it kind of worked pretty good. It's not real obvious or visible, and I don't think anything's run into it. And having that pass through, I think, is worked out well too, because it's like I didn't want to shut off my neighbor's access or anyone's access, but I did want to, except for the deers, and so that seems to be successful. They still jump in the backyard every now and then, through the backyard, but I'm not too concerned about that right now, and I don't know that I'll worry about them in the backyard.